Hey there, fools. Big T here, back with another video, and this video might make some people upset, but hey, I guess that's what I do. Yes, but as the title says, Wii U complaints are no longer valid for Nintendo Switch fans. Oh boy, let's get into it. That's right. Now, I'm not saying that there's a whole bunch of people out there who are Wii U fans and had complaints, and this is what they think about that console at the time, and they're kind of backpedaling. But there are some out there, and I just want to talk about that and explain, my point of view here. So, you guys know how I feel about the Switch. I loved it initially. I was in love with this console. I was one of the first people. I didn't wait around for the actual sales data. I was one of the first people to say the Switch was going to be a phenomenal success. I was one of the first people to say this Switch would outsell the Wii. And some people, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to get that. I knew it right away because it combined, what Nintendo did really well. It just looked like a fantastic little console. I mean, you can play basically console experiences on your TV and you can take them anywhere. I just knew that was going to take off really well. I just had my hopes for, what types of games we would get based on that, and we haven't really gotten them, and so that's why I've kind of soured a bit on my Switch, and I don't want to feel that way. I wish that the Switch was my favorite Nintendo console at this point, but it's not. So it's just, potential wasted. And it's not the first console from Nintendo to have potential wasted. You could say GameCube, you can say, some people will say Wii, didn't utilize the hardware the way some people would have liked more of, and especially the Wii U. Some people will say, and I will say, that the Wii U didn't have enough software that implemented the Wii U didn't have enough software that really utilized the Wii U gamepad. So I completely agree with that. But there were some things happening on the Wii U that some Nintendo Switch lovers took issue with at the time, and I remember videos and comments and commentary from people. But they just seem to have forgotten all their Wii U complaints because those complaints have not been addressed on the Switch, and it just feels a bit hypocritical to me. So I want to talk about some of that stuff. So one of the main things about the Nintendo Wii U was not getting enough games or getting ports of current gen consoles like 360 and ports from the 360 and the PS3 over to the Wii U, but like a year late and full price, and sometimes with just being subpar, maybe didn't run as well and stuff like that. And that issue continues in major ways on the Nintendo Switch. Now, when it comes to Nintendo first-party games, they actually do sometimes run a little bit better. They at least run as good as the Wii U game or the Wii U system that it came from. But the ports themselves, like I said, those ports are full price, and that is a major issue. Especially when I remember Nintendo fans complaining that these Wii U ports, or not Wii U ports, but ports to the Wii U from 360 and whatnot, a year later, why are they costing $60? I remember that being a thing about Mass Effect and Batman Arkham Armored and stuff like that. They complained. Nintendo fans complained. I complained. And the prices were just, it was too high for a year-old game for Wii U. And like I said, some of the games didn't run as well or look as well on the Wii U. So we have that issue continuing today when it comes to the Nintendo Switch in major ways. I would say some of these ports run much worse on the Switch than those ports that used to run on the Wii U that I'm talking about, like your Darksiders and your Batmans and stuff like that. Those games ran better on Wii U comparatively from, the ports that we get on Switch at this point. The latest being something like Apex Legends, which this looks almost like a different game at some points. But this is not something I overly bother myself with, but I'm just pointing it out because a lot of these dudes who are kind of blind loyalists when it comes to the Nintendo Switch were complaining about these things on the Wii U, so I just wanted to point that out. Corny commercials. A lot of people were upset, going crazy about how cheesy these family commercials were. They were a detriment to the Wii U. But we got a lot of cheesy family commercials on the Nintendo Switch. Now, obviously, the Nintendo Switch sells way better than the Wii U, so people complain about those commercials because they just kind of stuck out, like a sore thumb. And I even said at the time that there's really nothing wrong with those commercials. The problem is the system wasn't selling well. Gamers were not getting the games they wanted, so they looked for something. And I said this, they were looking for, nitpicks. And it's easy to nitpick something when it's not selling. So you can say, oh, well, look at this crazy, corny, you're a squid now, you're a kid now, Splatoon commercials and whatnot. And I'm like, there's some corny stuff, especially like the Super Mario 3D World / Bowser Story commercials. Those are cheesy, family-oriented commercials. But I haven't heard any complaints. And it's because of sales. Like I said, it all comes down to sales. All these complaints, a lot of these complaints will go away if this system is selling. And I find that weird because as gamers, I don't care if your system is selling. I care if you're bringing me great games. But some gamers just get caught up. They get starry-eyed looking at sales figures and they just forget all the complaints that they had previously. So yeah, corny commercials was an issue for Wii U owners, some Wii U owners, but they don't mind it on Switch. But Switch does have better marketing. Don't get it twisted. But it's because it sold well and it has better games. That's one of the major things. So it is what it is. But all right, let's move on to one of the major things, and that is the online. Now, I've talked about this plenty of times, but I would just like somebody who would disagree with me on most of what I'm saying here. Tell me that the Switch Online is better than Wii U's online. Just tell me that. Tell me that. I'll go away. I won't talk anymore about this ever again right now. You can't. There is no defense. You can't tell me that Switch Online is better than Wii U Online. It is visibly and noticeably worse. One of the things that makes it worse is that you're paying for Switch Online. I never paid a dime for Wii U Online. Now you can say all the reasons in the world of why Nintendo had to finally charge, and that's great and all. But even if that's true, shouldn't we at least get what we had before? As far as, online content, as far as applications that the Wii U had that the Switch doesn't have. Netflix, one of the largest streaming services out there, if not the largest. There's other things coming down the pipe as well. There's other popular streaming services, apps and whatnot coming, or that are here, like Disney Plus and even Paramount Plus. So why? Again, I don't care. Specifically myself, I don't care about these things, but these were things that people complained about when it came to Wii U. It didn't have enough streaming apps. It didn't have this. It didn't have that. And it's crickets. It's crickets when it comes to what the Switch doesn't have. It is abysmal. It is pathetic. It is sad. And if you look at, NES Online and SNES Online, that's really all you're offering. That is pathetic as far as what you're offering to your customers, especially post Virtual Console. How could you offer something like that after you've given us something like the Virtual Console? it just sticks out. It makes it looks even more embarrassing. And I just don't understand how a company they just pretend that these things never existed, and it's just strange. I would much rather a virtual console where I can pick and choose what I want to play, or bring over the stuff I already paid for your virtual console. Previous generations, the way I dragged my stuff over from my Wii to my Wii U with the little Pikmin. Why couldn't I do that on the Switch? I'm annoyed by that. It's just not enough. It's not great. The online itself hasn't improved. It's not like we have great servers now. That's not a thing. We lost the Miiverse. We lost the ability to video chat like we did on Wii U. We don't have, like I said, we can't message our friends. What's the point of inviting friends, or not inviting friends, because you can't really do that either. But what's the point of accepting friends on your Switch when you can't even communicate with them in any way? And it's just embarrassing at this point. 4 years into this console, and they haven't fixed that. 4 years into this console, and we don't have more than two themes. A theme being black background, white background. It's abysmal. And there's really no defense for that one. I would love to hear if you have a solid one to give me, but yeah, not good. Next up, faulty Joy-Cons, cheap hardware. I've had every Nintendo console on the planet. All my Nintendo consoles still work to this day. All my Nintendo controllers that I bought either with the console or the first year still work, no problems to this day. And the Nintendo Switch is a difference when it comes to that legacy, that Nintendium legacy. If you don't know what Nintendium is, it's just kind of a meme dealing with Nintendo, saying that they make really sturdy, really strong hardware that lasts forever. That's not the case with the Switch. I don't believe my Switch will last much beyond the generation as far as its operating, which pains me to say. But looking at my Joy-Cons, being faulty, I've had to fix them both twice. I had to send them back to Nintendo. At least they fixed them once for me, and I've had to fix them again. So it's just really annoying. It's just un-Nintendo-like to have this kind of cheapy hardware, but at a premium price. It's not any cheaper in cost, but it's at a premium price, and it's just really unfortunate, and it saddens me to say that about a Nintendo console, a Nintendo product, because that's not a thing historically with Nintendo. So yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is no exciting new franchises. Now, we had stuff introduced on the Nintendo Switch, like Astral Chain and whatnot, but nothing like really major, like big new franchise, like nothing Splatoon level, like we got with the Wii U. Nothing along that lines. Metroid Prime isn't a new franchise, but it took it in such a new direction. It felt in many ways like a new game, but I'm not really going to count that. I'm just, there were other franchises on pretty much every Nintendo console that were new to that console. And outside of like ARMS, which Nintendo seems to have forgotten, along with a lot of fans, so I can't really blame them. Nothing really like, oh, that's the big new Switch thing. And I don't know. I think that's strange. To me, that's pretty much un-Nintendo-like again, to not have this big new thing on the new console. GameCube had new franchises spawning, like Chibi Robo and Luigi's Mansion, and just really cool games like that. Pikmin started on GameCube. GameCube before the Wii U was Nintendo's least selling console. But again, even Wii U had Splatoon, you know, a major new franchise. It had Super Mario Maker, which is a major new franchise. So, yeah, it's it's kind of strange. It's just kind of strange to me to not have that game that's like, oh yeah, that's the Switch game, you know, where I can go back and say that's the N64 game, or that's the SNES game, or that's the NES game. You know, that's the Wii game. You know, Wii Sports was new and exciting and a kind of a game changer. So I just don't. I can't figure out that game for the Switch. If you guys can tell me, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's basically what it here. You know, my thoughts on, you know, Nintendo Switch fans not being allowed to have these Wii U complaints anymore after 4 years of the Switch and what it has and hasn't gotten at this point. So yeah, that's my take. Like I said, it's probably going to be controversial. It's going to be some complaining. But, you know, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you as always for watching and listening. And see you folks next time. Peace out.